Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Chaffee. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. It's Tuesday, the 18th of February, 2020. As the winter continues to march along, it's just about 33 days before spring officially arrives. There's still a lot that can happen. On the other hand, we're pretty much stuck in the same old weather pattern, and that means that whatever snow we're seeing today is going to be confined to upstate New York and northern New England, where we have winter weather advisories up. Also, a few winter weather advisories up in northern Michigan and in the upper peninsula of Michigan, and back through a small portion of Nebraska. I think from the standpoint of what's happening this week, probably the more important thing to pay attention to is the flash flood watches that are up across Mississippi and Alabama, because this area has been just absolutely socked with rain. And they're going to get some more later this week. And we're also going to be looking in the Carolinas for the possibility of some snow, and maybe even extending up into southern Virginia and back into eastern Tennessee. We mentioned yesterday on our Joe and Joe weather show last night that it would be the ultimate slap in the face for snow lovers in the Northeast, in the urban corridor anyway, to finally get some cold air and a wave to the south. But now there's going to be so much cold air that everything just gets overwhelmed, and it doesn't produce a flake or an ice pellet. And I think that's where we're leaning to. Now, here's a look this morning at what's happening. We've got some colder air getting pinned up in parts of northern Connecticut and the middle and upper Hudson Valley, where temperatures are below freezing. The blue shading here is all precipitation. Most of this, by the way, is aloft because the air is pretty dry. And then we run our way down into south central and southeastern Pennsylvania, southern New Jersey, over into Maryland and northeastern Virginia. And here it's a no-brainer. Temperatures are mostly in the low 40s, a few upper 30s in the cold spots. And then out to the west in Pennsylvania, you'll notice rain showers here with temperatures in the 40s and even some low 50s in southwestern PA. You have to really go up north of Route 80 to start to find temperatures at 32 or less, and also on up into western New York. This is not really going to be a big deal rain-wise. I'm thinking for areas in western PA, it might be a quarter to a half an inch, but for everybody else, it'll probably be more like a quarter of an inch or less, particularly along the coast. Nothing really well organized here. If you look at the satellite loop, as sunrise swings up from east to west, that's that shade, that line that starts to cross. We are seeing a ton of clouds, a little bit of a break there, though, in southern the Delmarva Peninsula down into southern Virginia here, as this moisture streams up to the northeast. And you'll notice, by the way, that the flow continues down from Baja California across Mexico. So this is setting up for a more important wave for later this week. Meanwhile, we've got some action dropping down in the northern Rockies with a little bit of light precip popping up there in a few spots. You can barely see it. We have rain moving across Georgia into South Carolina and western North Carolina. And of course, you see what's going on here in the Northeast with this patch of rain and some snow on the northern end. And of course, where you see all the blue areas, that precip isn't even making it to the ground. Here's some of that heavier precip that's down across Georgia now, moving into South Carolina, and some scattered showers back through Tennessee and Kentucky and points west. This is the radar as of shortly before 9 a.m. Eastern time. Looks like there might be a little bit of a line of storms trying to form here. Just want to take a look really fast. Storm Prediction Center showing a marginal risk of severe weather over parts of the Gulf states. No severe weather is forecast for Wednesday, and no thunderstorms at all are forecast for Thursday. So let's look at for snowfall. Once again, in the suspect areas, north of I-90, upstate New York, northern New England, you're looking at a basically 2 to 4, 3 to 6 inch snowfall, where you see the shaded areas, the darker blues and the purples. Amounts could go locally higher, driven by elevation. Also beginning to see the Weather Service offices in North Carolina, eastern North Carolina, southeastern Virginia, and also in parts of western North Carolina, and acknowledging the idea that maybe there could be a little bit of snow here for later Thursday. And I think we're going to see this area increase as we go through time. So let's take a look at what's happening going forward. This weather system in the Northeast plays itself out in relatively short order. Weather front moves on through, get a few showers with that, and then the front sags to the south. Big high pressure is going to be covering the country from coast to coast. This is colder air, and that means for the Northeast and northern mid Atlantic states, it's going to be dry with temperatures near or a little bit below average for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Meanwhile, the cold front stalls across the south. Now, here comes that next wave. And as I said, with where the high is going, with all of this being covered under high pressure, basically what we have is cold air completely overwhelming the Great Lakes, Northeast, and Northern Mid Atlantic states. So you wind up with that cold air bleeding southward. And here you can see the NAM model, and the GFS has it also. You see that area of snow that breaks out on the northern fringe of that over parts of Tennessee and North Carolina, and then eventually moving its way up into southern Virginia. The NAM is particularly aggressive with this. The other models less so. I think the NAM's idea is probably a little bit overdone, but this is what we're going to be watching for Thursday, early Thursday morning, extending into Thursday night as this low develops off the North Carolina coast and pulls away to the east. If this verifies, you could actually wind up seeing snow along the Outer Banks. But for everybody else, once we get through today, weather conditions are going to be relatively quiet across the country for the rest of the week and into next weekend. The one thing I would point out is in terms of the long range, I am thinking, that a window will probably open up at the end of the month and for the first week or two of March. Looks like the long range is kind of going in that direction. What it means ultimately, I don't know. But for the frustrated snow lovers among you, I'm just going to tell you that if nothing happens, then this is really your last chance in the I-95 urban corridor. Okay, the Joe and Joe Weather Show is tentatively scheduled for 7 o'clock Eastern Time. I've been having some technical difficulties with the internet lately, so we'll have to be flexible on this. But 7 o'clock Eastern is when we usually do it, and we're going to try for that. And that's really pretty much it. Make sure you download the free meteorologist Joe Chaffee weather app so you can follow snow wherever it is along the East Coast. I have all the latest snowfall forecast maps from Georgia to Maine on there, and they update automatically. So it's a handy thing to have during the winter months, and then we transition over to severe weather once we get into April and snow is no longer an issue. Okay, have a great day. We will see you later.